It's Bill. It's night 16. Only one more spot up for grabs in the top four for the playoffs on Friday. And here's what I think will happen. Well, my predictions for day 15 were not the greatest, although they started off fantastically. For whatever reason this week, I can pick Peter Wright games, so we'll see how I do today. But I got the Peter Wright game over Johnny Clayton at 8-5, as what I predicted, and the score was 8-5. The next two games were ties, so I don't know if you can really take them as what it is. But Dimitri Vandenberg with a tie, James Wade, that should have been a James Wade win. And I think this would have been a lot more exciting if James Wade would have got the win, because Peter Wright would have had a chance to get into the playoffs, but Dimitri Vandenberg did get his point, and therefore it's going to be a shootout with him and Johnny Clayton. Gary Anderson, a tie game with Nathan Aspinall. Not much in that game, probably the least enjoyable game. And then Michael Van Chihuahua was able to beat D'Souza 8-6. I picked D'Souza to beat the Chihuahua. Again, the Chihuahua's off in pacing. Let me explain something. I know you're glad you won, but you roared like an idiot when you took out double one. Like, do I have to keep doing this? First of all, Jose gave you another point. That's what Jose's done. Jose's making the top four. He's 0 for Winfrey. You have a point, you have a point, you have a point. Jose D'Souza has 2 at tops to tie the game. Like, you didn't, Michael Van Gerwen didn't destroy Jose D'Souza. I personally think the Chihuahua has no confidence, and I'm going to take that into the playoffs. I get, he roars all the time, I get it, but he's roaring in the weirdest situations, like really weird situations. Taking out a double one after missing so many doubles. I put my 95% of the darts players put out their hands up and apologize. 5% just go to the board and grab the dart and think to themselves, I got lucky. They don't roar. It's embarrassing. And I don't get it. I don't get why this is celebrated. I love a roar. Don't get me wrong. You hit and sometimes Michael Van Gerwen does it. He hit 160. Peter Wright hit a 161 with Johnny Clayton on a finish. That's your roaring time. It's a 161. On a double one? Granted, it's tough. It's tough to hit a double one, no doubt about that. I've got a lot of experience on it. I think I'm about 2% of hitting double one on the first dart. I get it. Roaring? You're apologizing because you basically pinched a leg off someone. Now, granted, you're playing Jose D'Souza, who's not going to take any of that personally. He's just going to look at you like you're an idiot, but smile on his face. I get all these commentators say they love emotion. Yeah, I love emotion too. The 161 was awesome. You know, Johnny Clayton's hit some ones and looked at the camera and gave it that. I get it. Nathan Aspinall roars. He doesn't roar when he hits a double one. I believe the Chihuahua has no confidence. And I'm going to take that into account when we get in the playoffs. So here's my picks for today. First of all, you got the who's playing out for the Asshole Cup. Which is a term we used to use in hockey when you're finishing to not finish last, so second last. So James Wade against Gary Anderson. I think Gary doesn't. These are two players that probably don't even care right now. I guess there's some money on the line if you think about it. Finishing 8th versus 7th, I don't know what the discrepancy in money is, but it's probably significant. I like James Wade to win this one, just more consistent. He was hitting his doubles yesterday versus against Peter Wright or against who did he play on Aspinall on the second day of this block. Yeah, I just think he'll be more consistent. So I got him winning 8-6. The next matchup I think will be a really good one. Hopefully Jose doesn't give away points. But here's the crazy thing: they're going to play today. Jose D'Souza and Nathan Aspinall, and if things go as expected, they'll be also playing in the semifinals tomorrow. So they'll get used to each other. I like Jose to win this one 8-5. The scoring will be good in this game. I think you see a lot of 180s. Jose's going to miscount. Nathan's going to hit some big outs, but I think Jose will have enough scoring to get by with an 8-5 victory. Next matchup, I guess it means one more point for Michael Van Gerwen. He gets top of the table. He might even still get top of the table if Jose De Souza beats Nathan Aspinall, which I predict. So he'll probably be already top of the table when this match starts. I just like, so it's a shame if you think about it. The way that Peter Wright's played in these last 3 games, if he's continuing on to the playoffs, you've got your winner. He's just in the best form, playing with the darts that he should be playing with all the time. Way more consistent, less darts in the 5. He did have that one where he took out the 161, and then I think he was so affected by that I think his next 3 darts were something that I throw. I think he was only at 399 after 3 sets of darts. I know that feeling really well, but then he was able to bring it back. So I just like Peter Wright's gonna have a lot of want and desire to beat Van Gerwen, and I think once Van Gerwen's got a top spot, is he gonna come out? Yeah, I know him and Wright have a rivalry, but certainly won't mean anything to Michael Van Gerwen. It'll mean more to Peter Wright. And it was funny, Peter Wright did mention that if he didn't get to the top 4, he wanted to finish 5th. He gets a victory here, and more than likely he'll finish 5th, because the next result would either be or he'd be above both of those players, or I guess with Johnny Clayton he might not have Johnny Clayton loses, he might not have it, but he's either to finish 5th or 6th, which I think, considering where he was, it's fantastic. So I like Peter Wright winning this one 8-4, and then in the biggest match, the shootout, the win for it all, the brawl for it all, whatever you want to call it, you have Johnny Clayton against Dimitri Van den Bergh, both on 16 points. A tie and Johnny Clayton wins it, and then you'd have a 3-way tie with 17 points, which is just a shame for Peter Wright. But I don't see this being a tie. Dimitri Van den Bergh's been in these situations before. Johnny Clayton less with a crowd. You could tell yesterday that Johnny Clayton was getting affected by what was on the line, and he certainly didn't play consistently against Peter Wright. Whereas Dimitri Van den Bergh, came from behind and was able to get that point from James Wade. So I just think Dimitri Van den Bergh, his averages have always been pretty consistent, over 100. I think he'll keep that up, and I think he will take the shootout, and he'll win this one 8-5. So again, my predictions for today: Wade over Anderson 8-6. De Souza to beat Nathan Aspinall 8-5, Peter Wright to beat Michael Van Gerwen 8-4, and Dimitri Van den Bergh to win the shootout and make the playoffs and win 8-5. Hope everyone enjoys the darts. I'll do something for the semifinals and finals for tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it. Cheers.